What is up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. It is good to be back on the stream. That is, it is good to be back and back joining with you guys. Did I just say that it's an absolute thrill to be back here with you guys? I am stoked. I'm excited. Can't wait to dwell into what we have going on for this stream. What better way to start off the stream? We're going to talk about a Nintendo Direct possibly happening this month. There's been a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, and all the evidence is piling down to when we could get a Nintendo Direct. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Will. I'm your host of this awesome stream. You guys can check me out on all of the platforms, whether you're watching them now or if you want to watch them on replay. And you guys can totally do so on any of these platforms. So you can hit me up on Twitter at WillYork_23, Twitch Texito28, and YouTube Will York. You guys can also hit me up on the Discord Raptor Champ. You guys can also find me on Facebook through Force Day Gamers. The Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Discord all have that. That text logo, the one with the words on the right hand side of the screen, that is where you guys can go to the platforms. Feel free to follow, share, like, all the fun stuff all the subscribers are asking for. All the fun stuff. Your choice. I'm not forcing you to. If you want to, you can. You can also add me as a friend on any of these consoles. You can add me on Switch, which is on the middle row, third to the right. You'll add me on PlayStation Texito25 and Xbox Raptor Champ 27, which I just upgraded to an Xbox Series X. Awesome. What can I say? It is awesome. And then you guys can also add me on Epic Games. Also, you guys can also add me on the Nintendo 3DS system as well. I will get you guys for that work. Let's see. Well, maybe. It'll pop up if it'll pop up. But yeah, you guys can add me as a Nintendo 3DS fan as well. Wii U, you guys can add me on there as well. If you guys want to know how to add me on those, give me a holler, give me a DM. Again, all the cool stuff that all the cool creators are doing out there. So, anyway, it is great to be back and streaming for you guys on any of these platforms that you're watching. You guys can also add me on any of the game consoles that you see below. But before I dwell into my picks and predictions for what could be a Nintendo Direct, which I could say it might be next week. I'm really leaning towards next week. Next Wednesday the 13th. I'll get to all that in a bit. But first, wanted to show off something really cool and really awesome. This is something that happened last weekend. I would have really loved to go to this, but I had a lot of different priorities in place. So, as many of you Nintendo people know, last week was the first ever Nintendo Live that happened in Seattle, Washington. And back during May, I went ahead and entered a sweepstakes chance for, a chance to win tickets. Because I thought this would be really cool to go and see this in person. But I actually ended up getting a ticket. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I won a ticket to this event. And I thought that would have been cool. But this was also during a time that I was facing unemployment. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any way of attending. So I had no other choice but to decline my ticket. It wasn't really heartbreaking, but I'm like, I had to consider a lot of different factors into this. One, I didn't have a job. I didn't have money to pay for this. And two, it's in a big place that I've never been to before. I've only been to California once. That's it. I've only been to the West Coast once, but not to Seattle. So I would have been going by myself in a big city where a lot could happen, and I wouldn't have anyone to go with. Not to mention, getting lodging. I imagine hotels in Seattle are really, really expensive. So I had to think about all the different things, but at the end, I'm like, I just cannot. I'm like, there's no way I can't. I didn't have money to get a hotel and a flight. I'd have to get a flight as well. So that's a lot of money to go through just for a one-day trip to an event. And if anyone from Nintendo sees this video, I just want to say it was an absolute honor and a pleasure to be named a winner for this. Really, truly thankful for, this was a once in a lifetime event. I would have jumped at the opportunity like this, but I had other things to consider. I had a lot of other things to consider. And then last month, I get something in the mail from Nintendo, and I'm like, I'm not expecting anything. And what did I get? How about my press pass or my attendance lanyard thing? So I thought I'd take a moment to kind of show this off. This is pretty cool. I contacted him shortly after I got this in the mail, and I told him, like, I canceled my ticket. And I got this in the mail today, so what do I need to do with this? And people at Nintendo, their customer service, great customer service, by the way, they said I can keep it. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, you can keep that. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then, so I'll find a special place to hang this up, but yeah, just thought I'd take a moment to show this off. How cool is this? The Nintendo Live 2023 would have been so cool. And they actually announced next year is going to be in Tokyo, Japan. Of course, that's going to be even... Sorry about that, too much shaking going on. I know you guys are itching to shaking to get the direct predictions, but we'll get there momentarily. So yeah, this is pretty cool, really awesome. And then you got a QR code that you scan to get into the events and stuff. I've heard it was a great time, a lot of cool stuff, people enjoying themselves. A lot of people got to play a little bit of the Super Mario Bros. Wonder game. I would have loved to try that, because now this game is... Last week had a Nintendo Direct for the game, and oh, it looks so much fun. Now that new details emerge, I'm like, okay, this might be Game of the Year 2. This might be Game of the Year 2 next to Tears of the Kingdom. And also kind of show this off. You got all the Nintendo cool stuff right here. This is Nintendo Live 2023. How cool is this lanyard? How cool is this? So thank you, Nintendo, for at least allowing me a chance to come here. But unfortunately, I could not, and I would have loved to come. I would have came in a heartbeat to attend something like this. But like I said, at the time, I was dealing with unemployment. I didn't have money. I couldn't do much to get a flight or anything like that. I've even asked if there was ways to, attend virtually, which they didn't have plans, but they actually did have live streams, and I didn't watch a whole lot of those. I really wanted to watch some of the live stream stuff, but I was just busy. I just had a lot of stuff going on that day. So, really cool that I get to keep this press pass, and they also sent me a letter talking, mostly saying what would I need to do. What would I need to do to, for the event? But, again, that's all very cool and very exciting. Like I said, I would love to go, but I had different priorities. So showing that off, and they also got the Nintendo Live 2023, 2 double-colored logos, so that's pretty cool. That is super awesome. This is definitely going to be a keeper, and I'm going to keep that for a long, long time. So, alright, now we'll get into direct predictions. So if you guys turn your attention to the right side of your screen and in the snap, like that, let's talk about the direct predictions for the direct. I gotta get a little bit of music going first, so. There we go. Nice. Alright. Oh, give me just one moment, guys. I did not check this before I got on the stream, but give me just a couple of seconds. I'm gonna do what's called live editing. Give me just a quick moment. I'm gonna save a little screenshot of change that up because a lot of that information has changed. See if that changed anything for you guys. Again, live editing. Nope, that did not do a thing. Just a quick moment, guys. I'm trying to get it. There we go. And voila, more live editing. Sure, right here. All right. Now we got some live editing going on. Now that's all did and done. So now we can talk about my picks and predictions for a Nintendo Direct that can be happening soon. A majority of these is going to be first-party announcements. I've already thought about what the date could be, and my prediction is that it's going to happen on Wednesday, September 13th. A couple of reasons. One, next week serves as a perfect in-between slow week. This week we had Nintendo Live from last weekend. We had Nintendo Live, and then after next week will be the Tokyo Game Show. In recent history has shown that Nintendo does not do Directs during Tokyo Game Show. So, it is more than likely going to be, I'd say September 13th. Nintendo's always done a lot of Wednesday Directs. Wednesday's a really good day of the week. It's just right in the middle. It's usually slow. Not a lot usually happens. So, in that, like I said, they've had a lot of good history with Wednesday Directs. So, I imagine the pattern's going to continue, and we'll probably get a Nintendo Direct next week. Plus, some of the evidence, there's been a lot of talk about what could be announced in this Direct. I'll be talking about it here in the graphic. So, some of the stuff's already there's been some that's been announced, and a lot of stuff is just wild cards, but also a lot of the stuff is rumors. So, just kind of thinking about the latest news, all the talk that's been going on. One thing that's been has been a lot of talk lately, but is not on this Direct is the talk about the Switch successor. There's been a lot of talk, that it was shown off behind scenes at Gamescom last month to people, and a lot of insiders are saying it's going to be graphic-wise comparable to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. They're also saying some of the games that were shown off was like a souped-up version of Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is very, very interesting. So those are just rumors. So I imagine they won't announce any new hardware for a Nintendo Direct. Nintendo never usually does. They never usually do that. I would imagine be their own separate live stream, a separate event. They could plan on that. I imagine they're not going to do any hardware in the Direct, because the Direct main focus are the games. That's all the Nintendo Direct is about, is the games. They're not focused on hardware, they're focused on games. And they're going to keep riding the Switch train while it lasts. And especially since last week, it's earlier this week, they announced that on October 6th, which is the same day as a brand new Mario OLED edition Switch comes out, they're also releasing their popular bundle of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online with the normal Switch, that is, not OLED, and 2 brand new Animal Crossing themed Switch lights. One at Target, it's the Aloha Pink, and the Timmy and Tommy one at Walmart. It's the turquoise. So, again, and both of those Switch Lite games, they also include the full download version of Animal Crossing New Horizons. So, for $200, which I think is a pretty sweet deal, for $200, you can get a Switch Lite and a full game download. So, some people might say it's another great way to get money out. It's also another great way to push Switch units out, especially if there's a lot of talk about new hardware, a new console. You want to try to push some of these units out. So, what's the best way to do it? You bundle some of your popular games with it, and you sell the Switch like hotcakes. You sell them like hotcakes, especially with October coming around. It'll be time for the holidays. It'll be time for the holiday games and all the Christmas deals, Black Friday deals, all of that. Just getting ready for all those deals. So, I know, I've been talking a lot, and I haven't even gotten to point number 1 yet. So, there's a lot to consider. So, let's start off with one that was announced in the June Direct, which is the visually enhanced Moon port. They did announce that it's coming out in 2024. I think it's most likely that this one's going to be in the Direct. This one is most likely going to be in the Direct. We could get a release date. I think they said spring. I'm not exactly sure. But I played that on 3DS. Loved it. Really liked the game. Be interesting to see how it do on the Switch. All it is, they're just porting the game, but they're visually enhancing it. So they're just doing some small tweaks, adjusting the controls. Porting the game is a lot harder than you think. You gotta change the game mechanics when you port games over to new consoles. So, this one, I think this one's a lock. I actually think all of my predictions are locks for what could be in this Direct. On my top row, that is. Second bulletin. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Booster Course Pass, getting DLC number 6. I think that's going to be given. We've got the first 5 out. There's one more slated to be released by the end of this year. Of course, that is what the original plan was. And there's also supposed to be, I think 2 more characters joining in. So they brought back the characters. They brought 3. Let's see. They brought 3 in the last pass, and they brought 1. So, yeah. There are 2 left, and a lot of people are saying, well, it could be Pauline, or it could be Diddy Kong, which I'm okay with whoever's in. I'm okay with whoever gets in, but I imagine this is, it's the last Booster Course Pass. So yeah, thanks for this. We have not gotten Mario Kart 9 soon, and I think Mario Kart 8 turns 10 pretty soon. If you guys know the year, let me know. I think it's 2014. I don't know for sure. If you know, let me know. If you guys want to do research on some of this stuff that I'm talking about and want to help correct me, by means, I'm all ears. I am all ears. So, I think we're going to get a Mario Kart Deluxe Booster Course, the last one that gets announced. Not a release date, the release period, which I would say winter of 2023. And then our third bulletin, which is 1-3, right here in the top middle. The Untitled Princess Peach game, details, and of course our 2024 release date, which that's already given. But I'm talking about an exact release date. I feel like that was a big one out of nowhere. Interesting to see what this Princess Peach game's all about. It's actually Princess Peach's first solo game since Super Princess Peach on the DS back in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, let me know. Again, if you guys know information that's very helpful for tonight's stream, you can put it in the chat, and I will read that out and inform you guys. So I would appreciate it even when I ask you guys to contribute. Feel free to contribute away. And then Square Enix Nintendo Switch exclusive. Of course, that also could tie into the next one, but I imagine it could be a game where, it could be a game that Square Enix is exclusively working on. And I'm not counting Super Mario RPG. That's the next bulletin. That's my next point. But it could be something like, or I think earlier this year they had Bravely Default 2. It could be Octopath Traveler 3. Or Chrono Trigger, maybe. Who knows? Maybe Chrono Trigger could be next. Who knows? If it's Chrono Trigger, I mean, that's one of the most either ports or remakes out there. Heavily demanded. I've heard a lot of great things about Chrono Trigger. I'm not really big on turn-based RPGs, aside from Pokemon. But I am willing to give anything a try at least once. I am willing to give it a try. So, if I had to make a guess on a Square Enix Nintendo Switch exclusive, I would have to go with Chrono Trigger. Would definitely have to go with that. It's been long overdue for Chrono Trigger. And I think they do have a Chrono game on the Switch. I think it's Cross. I'm not exactly sure. Again, if you guys know information, put it down in the chat. I'd be more than happy to read out your chats. And now, speaking of Square Enix and Nintendo, one last thing before I jump into there. Square Enix is a really great partner for Nintendo. Really great partner. They've done a lot of exclusives that have went to other platforms. Again, and Switch, Nintendo is great at RPGs, and Square Enix is the perfect epitome of an RPG, especially turn-based RPGs. So, it's like a match made in heaven. It is like a match made in heaven. Square Enix specializes in turn-based RPG games. Nintendo excels at bringing audiences to those games. They excel at that. It is a perfect match. Alright, now we can go to another Square Enix Switch exclusive, and that is the return, or the remake, I would say, of the Super Mario RPG. This is the next game after Wonder. Well, no, this is not. The next Switch game is Detective Pikachu 2, but Nintendo's really pouring into, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And then after Wonder is the WarioWare Move It. And then Super Mario RPG remake that comes out on November 17th. Obviously, I think we're going to get a lot more details, and especially the characters and the stories, because I imagine a lot of people who are going to be, anticipating this game, they're going to be a lot younger, and the majority of the people who've played the game, it's been out for about 30 years. A lot of people know who these characters are, but Nintendo wants to try to get to the younger audience and explain to them what this game is about, who these characters are, and how these mechanics work. So, I imagine we're going to get a lot of Super Mario RPG information in this. And heck, maybe they can also announce something, details like the original can now be played on Nintendo Switch Online if you have a Nintendo Switch Online membership. Yes, I will sign up for that. I would sign up for that indefinitely. I mean, I already got it, but I mean, like, play the original one on Switch Online. I definitely would give that a shot. Absolutely give that a shot. Not to mention, it gives those younger players that I've mentioned the opportunity to play the original before jumping into a remake, just so they can understand, all right, there's a lot of stuff going on here between the original and a remake. So it just kind of gives them that feel, that kind of, that familiarity. And I think if they shadow drop the original one on Switch Online, I think that's a big win. That could also grab a lot of attention for those who want to play the remake. And then, let's see, moving on to row number 2. A cloud game announced for Nintendo Switch. It could be anything. It could be anything that, that's been out on like Xbox and PlayStation. If I had to make one pick on what game could be announced for cloud, I would have to say Stray. I know that's a really, really bold pick, Will. That's a bold pick for choosing an indie game about a cat. But hear me out on this. It has gotten popular, and the game's almost a year old. The game is almost a year old. It launched as a PlayStation 5 exclusive last year, and now for about a month it is on Xbox. So when you're going to wonder, when's it going to come on Switch? Well, the obvious answer is we don't know if it's going to come to Switch because, one, can the Switch handle it? Like I said, this game launched exclusively on PlayStation 5. And then it gets ported to Xbox, which Xbox can handle the same graphics as a PlayStation 5 can. The Series X and the S. And they also did it for 1, too, which is a little lower than the S and X. But they still made it work. Can it work for Nintendo? I think it can. But I think putting it as a cloud version would be the better suit. I mean, cloud versions don't take up a lot of data, but the thing is, when you play a cloud game, you're taking a lot of internet, which could cause a lot of issues. You're trying to play the game and then you get disconnected because your internet's not good enough. Believe me, I have tried. I have tried numerous times. Just can't really play Switch games on cloud. You can't do it very well. So, prime example, the Kingdom Hearts games. They're on Switch, but they're all cloud. And especially when a majority of these games were released like PlayStation 2 era-wise on that majority of those. Kingdom Hearts 3 on Switch for cloud, that actually makes sense because it was released on graphics that Switch was not compatible with. But the others, like the original Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, those could have just had easy, ports made. Like I said, ports are not easy to make. So anyway, if I had to pick one cloud game to get announced for Switch, it's got to be Stray. Annapurna Interactive is the developer of the game. They have a good relationship with Nintendo. They have a good relationship with them. I could see Stray coming, but again, I think cloud would be the best version to go if this ever was to happen. Next, one game I've never really played, and I've got no interest much in it, is the Splatoon 3, or any of the Splatoon games. Never had much interest in those, but I imagine there will be some DLC information, and even the next Splatfest. So that could be announced in this Direct as well. They've done it last year with the Direct, announcing a Splatfest. And then on the second row, the third one in the middle, I know we just got a Direct about it last week, but we might as well take that one last push before the release of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. There might be some details that were not in the Direct. I can see that happening. And again, the game comes out October 20th, and this is Nintendow's big push, their next game, because Detective Pikachu 2 is the Pokemon Company's responsibility from here. Even though it's the next Switch game, that game is a Pokemon Company responsibility, and they do their own thing. They do their absolute thing. Nintendo doesn't do much involvement. They just put out the game. So, anyway, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the next big Switch game coming out that's not Detective Pikachu 2. So it could get that one last push. Again, it had a lot of push with the Direct last week, and with the Direct possibly next week, they might even get a bigger push. It might be a big one last push hurrah. And then our next set of games announced for Nintendo Switch Online, I could see this happening. I would mostly see, I could see like 64, Game Boy Advance. I could see those. Maybe the Super Mario RPG original, like I've mentioned. I could see that. There's rumors, which I'll get to later, about Donkey Kong. One of those could be Donkey Kong 64 that could be announced for Switch Online, which a lot of people wondering, like, how come that one's being omitted? There's that one, and the original Super Smash Bros. Bring those to Switch Online. And maybe, also, just remember this, the September Direct for the last 2 years, they announced new games for Switch Online. For Nintendo 64, they have announced one game, at least one, that is a rare game that was originally made for Nintendo 64, but now Microsoft owns Rare. So, I'm trying to think, what would be the next most likely game that could come from Rare that, you know, Microsoft can say, okay, put that on Nintendo. Like, 2 years ago, we got Banjo-Kazooie. Earlier this year, we got GoldenEye 64. What's the next one that you can think of? I would say Banjo-Tooie. I'd say is the most likely. I'd say Banjo-Tooie is the most likely. It's the sequel to 64. A lot of different mechanics. A lot of different stuff happening there. That's my front runner if this one actually comes true. Also, my second one would be Conker's, like Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I'd say highly unlikely. It is a very, very mature game, and I imagine a lot of people who play these have kids. I would imagine Nintendo does not want, they do not want the kids to get a hold of Conker's Bad Fur Day. So, with that said, I think Banjo-Tooie is a heavy favorite if they go the one game by Rare that gets announced for 64. Or the third one would be Perfect Dark, which an interesting choice, interesting selection right there. Perfect Dark. I've heard a couple of things about it, but not a whole lot. But my front runner is Banjo-Tooie. Perfect Dark would be the next one, and then maybe Conker's Bad Fur Day would be third, but I'd go Banjo-Tooie if they went that route again. If they win it again. There is one other NES game, and this is one I'd really like to see on Switch, and that's the original Duck Hunt. I would totally love to see that. You know, you had the opportunity to release the Zapper gun, and then you put a little Joy-Con in it, and then just, you know, take the little Zapper gun and shoot out the little ducks. I'm like, that'd be really, really cool. And, you know, for the NES, but I mean, that could drive some sales right there, get a lot of people to invest in Zapper guns. I'm just saying, but I don't think that's going to happen. If they'd done it, they would have done it by now. So, do I think we're going to get a lot more games announced for Switch Online? Oh yes, we are definitely going to have that. And again, that is what they've done in the September Directs the last couple of years. And then second to the fifth, Road to 5 is the WarioWare Move It. We'll definitely get details and more gameplay shown off. This one comes out November 3rd. This one comes out November 3rd, which is 2 weeks before the Super Mario RPG remake. And we don't know a whole lot of details about the game. The Direct makes perfect sense. Sorry, there's a bug in front of my face. I'm underneath the light, so. So yeah, An also interesting thing, and also tying back in with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, these are the first 2 games without Charles Martinet voicing in them, which is, it's gotten a lot of crazy reactions to that on social media, that Charles Martinet is no longer voicing Mario. Even though, as when Nintendo's done, they've made a creative Mario ambassador role for Martinet, which is, I think, I'll admit, that's a pretty cool role. But also keep in mind, and they showed a video about this earlier this week, it just feels like Charles is starting to, I'd say he's starting to lose his little edge as Mario. Now, I don't want to get any serious flack for this, but hear me out. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, he is 67, he will be 68 soon. That is a long time to be a voice actor, and especially in the world of entertainment. It's just, especially when all your main lines are woohoo or yippee, all those high point pitched noises, and he's an older man, he just can't really perform as much anymore. So I know I'll get some a little flack for this, but I honestly think this was the right decision. I know a lot of people are going to say, Charles Martinet's the only Mario that I know and I will only ever know. Well, you're right about that. A lot of people are right about that. But the way I see it, he is getting older, and he just, he might just not be able to do as much anymore voice acting again. But then again, another example, the SpongeBob SquarePants show. I like the original episodes, by the way, but their majority of their voice actors are in the high 60s to low 70s. That's the majority of their voice actors. And SpongeBob turns 25 next year, for those who are feeling pretty old. Yeah, SpongeBob turns 25 next year, which is insane. So I imagine they should end SpongeBob while they can. In fact, I think they should have ended it after the first movie, but Nickelodeon just milks the heck out of SpongeBob all the time. And I could save that. I think I'll save that spiel for another video sometime. So give me just a moment, let me get a quick drink, and then I will get back to the predictions. I needed that drink. A lot of talking going on. So, I feel like the big emphasis with the WarioWare Move It game, it could have I think a lot of emphasis will be on, using Joy-Con straps, separate Joy-Cons for this one. I could see that. And I think September Direct will direct information about the game. Of course, it comes out in November. Row 3-1, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, the Indigo Mask details. I just threw that out because if the Direct does happen on the 13th, it's also the same day as the first DLC for Pokemon Scarlet Violet. It's not Indigo Mask, I apologize, it's Indigo Disc. The teal mask is what comes out on Wednesday, so apologies for the... I'm going to go ahead and update this in the chat. Alright, I just went ahead and made that note that the second DLC for Scarlet Violet is actually Indigo Disc. Again, this was just on the whim, flying, editing going on right here. That chat should be appearing momentarily. So yeah, they announced more details about this in the Pokemon Presents from last month, but I don't think it hurts to mention that once again. Doesn't hurt to mention that once again, just kind of get people excited about that. And they also mentioned in that all the starter Pokemon from every generation will be in this part of the DLC, which is pretty awesome. I'll admit, that's pretty cool. So if you have like a Totodile from Pokemon Go that you want to put into Scarlet and Violet, or if you have a Bulbasaur from the original Game Boy games, bring that into Scarlet and Violet as well. So, and I could see a few more details about that, but honestly, I really don't see much details because Pokemon Company does their own thing, but they really don't. They only do like 3 Pokemon Presents a year, and I think they've already used those up. So the best possibility to get more information would be to be included in the Nintendo Direct. But that's just me. And then also the iconic Finger Snap, obviously. Free Spot, that's always a given. Alright, this is one of the big new rumors. I'm on Rio 34. The new Donkey Kong Country announced in our 2024 release. So there's a leaker on Twitter, goes by the name of Pyoro, or Pyro, Pyoro, and he's been actually getting a lot of praise lately because he's been revealing, just kind of being cryptic about information for upcoming games. And one of those, he posted a GIF of Donkey Kong. It was from the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And so a lot of people have hyped up that we could get a new Donkey Kong Country game in 2024. I could actually see this happening. They had a game that did come out in 2014, Tropical Freeze, that got ported to Switch back in 2018. It got ported over to Switch, and the original one on Wii U turns 10 next year. So it seems more than likely it is about time for a new Donkey Kong game, but it could also lead to Donkey Kong 64 coming on Nintendo Switch Online. So the hint is very vague, but the possibilities are just about endless. Would I try out a brand new Donkey Kong game? If it's country, I would try it. Also, there were rumors years ago about a new Donkey Kong game that's 3D, and it's also being developed like a 3D platformer, but it's also developed by the team that did Super Mario Odyssey. I could see this in approach. Like, again, if it's like Donkey Kong 64, which was a 3D platformer, that can make more sense. That can make sense too. So either one of those 3 possibilities, a new 2D Donkey Kong, a 3D Donkey Kong, or DK64 for Switch Online, anything is possible. So again, this leaker Pyoro, or Pyro, was very cryptic about it on Twitter earlier today. And then there were rumors months ago about a new Mario Baseball game for Switch. I would totally love to see this. I love Mario Baseball Superstars on the GameCube. One of my absolute favorite GameCube games. That came out in 2005, and then Mario Super Sluggers came out in 2008, I think. So it's been a long time coming since we had any Mario Baseball. And all the way the sports stuff has happened on Switch. We got, let me see. We got the baseball, we got tennis, golf, and soccer. So baseball's got to be the next one online. I'd say baseball's got to be the next one online. Come on, Nintendo. You know you want it. You know you want to show off Mario Baseball. Also to mention, Nintendo of America has a 10% stake in the Seattle Mariners baseball team. 10% stake, which is pretty cool. Also the fact the last 2 MLB The Show games have also been out on Nintendo Switch. So it seems to me that Nintendo loves baseball. Now I just need to get them to love football. That's a story for another stream. I would love to see Madden NFL return on a Nintendo console. Hasn't happened in forever, but of course, EA being EA, who they developed the game, they developed the Madden NFL games. They just love leaving Nintendo out of the mix in all favor for higher graphics versus great gameplay. So I'm not much of a fan for EA these days. I'll tell you that. Not much of a fan. But until EA decides to, put a Madden NFL game on Nintendo console, they're not getting my money. They are not getting my money. Alright, we're getting there, guys. I'm getting there. Row 4, number 1, a montage of games shown. So it's just I think this one's a given. It's just a mini little game. It's got little tidbits of here, 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 and here. All the games coming out soon. Information. I think that's going to happen. One that I did not change. I forgot about this one. The Everybody 1-2 Switch. Give me just a moment. Let me change that up real quick. I forgot about that one. Let's see. What would be a good one to replace that? Give me just a moment. I think I've about got it. Alright, if you guys just saw that change, I did indeed put Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, and they're like, why are you putting Red Dead Redemption on, for Switch information? Because that is actually true. They early last month, they announced Red Dead Redemption 1 was coming to Switch on August 17th as digital, and then physical would come out in October. I mean, Nintendo wants to try to find a way to push this game to more sales. It's a good way to do it, to announce, hey, you can get Red Dead Redemption 1 available on Switch, along with its companion, The Undead Nightmare. Get it now, or you can get a physical edition come on October 13th. So a good way to get more sales pushed. In fact, I think a couple of weeks ago, Red Dead Redemption was actually the number 2 seller on the eShop. So kudos to getting the game on a Nintendo Switch. It's a good way to drive up sales, and from what I've heard, it's a solid port. It's not great, it's not perfect, but I heard it's pretty solid. I understand a lot of people have given them flack for the price, which is $50, which in somewhat sense, I think $50, they say, Rockstar says that's commercially accurate. I'm just okay that the fact that we have Red Dead Redemption on Switch now, I'm totally okay with that. Very much okay with that. From what I've seen, the DLC originally was like $20 and the game was $30, so that kind of, like, you can go and pick up the game for the whole thing for $30 on Xbox. Like, you could go to Walmart, you could pick all that up for $30, which, if you have Xbox, great. But for those who don't, getting it on PlayStation 4 and Switch, it's a great way to go. Even though you're paying $20 more than what you would for Xbox, but it's still an opportunity to play on those consoles. And I cannot wait to play Red Dead Redemption 1 on Switch when that physical edition comes out on October 13th. And then an unexpected Switch port, it could be anything. If I had to pick one, I would say Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know, pretty bold. Really, really bold for that. But again, that all ties up to this partnership Square Enix has with Nintendo. They have a great partnership going, and it also ties in with the rumor that that was one of the games that was tested for the Switch successor behind scenes at Gamescom last month. So that would be my most unexpected Switch port, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Very interesting about that. One last announcement. That's a given. Hollow Knight Silksong. I don't think it's going to be 2023 release. They really haven't given any updates to the game, and it's like one of the highly most anticipated indie games out there. In fact, if you go over to the Nintendo website and look at the coming soon, the Hollow Knight Silk Song has a page of its own, but it says TBD. So, if it comes out in 2023, big win for the fans. You know, if it's before holidays, that's still a big win as well. But the way we haven't gotten any real updates for this in quite a while, I think it's most likely going to be 2024 or maybe more before you get the game released. And this game has been in the works for a long, long time. A very, very long time. So, into row 4, last row, a new game demonstration. Yep, I think we might get something here. Who knows what that could be. Alright, Twilight Princess Wind Waker ports. These were heavily rumored for years. I'd say, I think it's a reality. I think it can happen. Again, very popular games, very expensive games to get a hold of. But if you get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker both on Switch, if you get them all on Switch, you'll have the complete anthology of the Legend of Zelda games on Nintendo Switch. You've got the originals, the 1 and 2 from the NES, Link to the Past on SNES, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages on Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Minish Cap on Game Boy Advance, and then we also got Skyward Sword on the Wii, and Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom on Switch. And of course, the news earlier this week is that Tears of the Kingdom is not getting any DLC. I would love to see something a little extra, but I need to get back into the game. Need to get back into this, and then, I'll need to get back into it and, keep playing the game, and then, and then maybe wonder if DLC can be worth it. A lot of people want like a master mode. Like, why do you need a master mode? The game is the master mode. So much for people saying, Tears of the Kingdom is $70 DLC. So, that's not really my intake. I'm like, it's just a brand new game, and it's supposed to be fun and enjoyable. All the fun stuff. So, I've almost beaten Wind Waker HD on Wii U. I'd like to get back to that in the future. Twilight Princess was one I've actually got started a little bit of, but never went back to it. So yeah, like I said, those two have actually been rumored for quite a while now. They have been rumored for quite a while. And possibility we could see those come true, who knows. And then there's a rumored F-Zero game announced. Of course, this was another one of the leaks from the Pyoro person I was telling you about on Twitter. That I was telling you about. This was one of the other rumored games that he mentioned earlier today, along with the Untitled Princess Peach game. They could be getting some announcements or information presented in a Nintendo Direct. I can actually see this happening. It has been so long since F-Zero fans have gotten any new games. I think the last one they had was for GameCube. But again, the only way people know F-Zero is through Smash Bros. That's the only way people know about F-Zero is Smash Bros. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, I would also say the same for Star Fox. That's all you know him from is Smash. That's it. That's all you know him from is Smash. So it makes sense, and they don't really have big audiences. Not as much as Pikmin, not as much as Mario, and definitely not as much as Zelda, or Splatoon, or Pokemon. Not as much on any of those. But I know there's still a lot of people out there that like the F-Zero, and it's a return many of us would see as overdue. And I would love to see a return of classic franchises. It gives me a chance to learn something new about the franchise and to learn about the franchise. An opportunity to step up the gaming world, I would say. And then speaking of Smash, the Sora Amiibo announcement with the release. There's one DLC Amiibo left in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that is Sora. There has not been any official announcement about a Sora Amiibo yet. This could also be potential for it, but they really don't promote a lot of amiibos for their games unless it's a tie-in amiibo that is released with a game. So, I mean, just to announce that separately doesn't make sense. But imagine, with the Sora amiibo, it's going to sell out in a flash. It's going to sell out in a heartbeat. It's going to be hard to get one anywhere. But a Sora amiibo, I'd say very most likely to be happening. And then finally, Row 5-5. This one was heavily rumored. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remastered. This is one Paper Mario. This is one of the games that I really want to try playing. That I really want to try. I've heard so many good things about this one. Also, next year's the 20th anniversary of the original release, and it has never had a re-release before. Never been re-released to the public ever since it came out almost 20 years ago. But there was rumors earlier this year. A journalist was asking various leakers for news, and 3 of them said that Nintendo is working on a remaster for Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I'm like, that's a smart decision. It's a great way to get the game out on Switch, and especially a lot of these games, if next year is in fact the final year that we're getting Switch, then you got a solid lineup right here. This year was really good. A really great lineup this year. Next year, a great opportunity to blow it out of the water. A lot of big stuff. And again, this lineup all here, a great way to blow it out of the water. One of the games that I just thought about that could happen, I think it most likely will happen, and that's Metroid Prime 4. I know I should have thought about that instead of Red Dead Redemption, but Metroid Prime 4, it is the last of the big announced Switch games that was announced back in 2017, and it's gone through a lot of development issues. It was restarted back in 2019. Haven't heard any updates since. It's been over about 4 years. I imagine that we could get Metroid Prime 4 next year. There's also rumors saying, another leaker goes by the name of, I think his name is Zippo. He said that they're supposed to be expecting news about Metroid Prime 2 Echoes getting remastered, and that gets dropped soon. Makes sense. We got Metroid Prime 1 remastered and Shadow dropped back in the February Direct. Got all of that. So, and you got Metroid Prime 4 coming, so I think Nintendo wants to try to see about getting all 4 Metroid Prime games in the same system before moving on to new hardware. And also the rumor about Metroid Prime 4 is that it could be the last Switch title game before new hardware comes out. That makes a lot of sense. Again, it is the last big Switch announced game from 2017. 6 years ago. A long time coming for Metroid Prime fans that have not had a new game since, I think, 2009 when 3 came out. I'm not sure. I don't know. Not 100% sure. But I could see that one more likely. I should have used that instead of Red Dead Redemption, but you never know. The thing with Nintendo Directs is you never know what's going to happen. So a lot of information to cover in 1 hour's time. Whew. This calls drink. Alright. Well, again, I feel pretty solid about all of these picks. I feel pretty solid. If I wanted to change one thing, it would have to be Red Dead Redemption in exchange for Metroid Prime 2, 3, 4 info/news. So that's what I would have to go with. Other than that, I feel pretty solid about these picks. Or if I wanted to trade out the Hollow Knight news for Metroid Prime information, I might do that as well. So, that's a lot of information that I just presented to you guys tonight. And I love doing these direct prediction videos. So, what I'm going to try to do, hopefully, if we do get a Nintendo Direct announced next week, what I'll do, I'll watch the Direct like normal. Then I will also possibly record a, record a direct, a delayed reaction, and then I will upload that to, most likely YouTube. I will most likely upload that to my YouTube if a Direct is actually announced next week. So this is just a fun, I love doing direct prediction videos. It gives me a lot to talk about, and it also keeps you guys informed what's happening in the world of Nintendo, my viewpoints. But of course, everybody's opinions are always welcome here on my channels. And if you want to see more from these channels, you can check them on out. You can head on over to my Twitter at WillYork_23, Twitch Tuxedo28, YouTube Will York, and my Discord Raptor Champ. That text logo with the circle and the TEX, that will guide you on your way to Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Discord. You guys can also hit me up on Facebook through 4State Gamers. You guys can also add me on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and Epic Games Store. One last time, I'm going to try to see if I can get in a 3DS code for you guys. That should be coming up in the chat any moment now. So give it just a little bit of time. And if you want to add me on the 3DS system, there you go. Oh, it's almost there. Once that comes up on chat, you want to add me on 3DS, you are more than welcome to do so. I could use more 3DS friends, even though there's no more 3DS around or Wii U. You guys can still add me on if you want to. So, I want to thank you all so much for tuning into the stream. It's fun to be back on the stream. Fun to be back there with you guys. More streams as often as I can. Just been busy with life lately. Actually been getting a little bit getting better with my job, with my customer service jobs. I've been getting a lot better with the job. So, and I have you guys to thank for continuous love and support while I've been down and out for majority of the year. But it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's even going to be even more awesome when you guys here by my side. So, to each and everyone who is either watching this live or on the replay, you have my thanks. You all have my absolute thanks. And thank you guys so much, so much for tuning in tonight. I will definitely catch you guys hopefully next week when a Nintendo Direct officially becomes announced. Once that becomes announced, I will plan on hopefully what I'll probably plan on doing is watch the video live, record it, and then I will upload a delayed reaction to you guys. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful evening and a great, wonderful weekend. I will catch you all on the flip side. Have a good one, guys.